Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Lucid Sight Collective podcast, where we do a deep dive into the world of lucid dreaming and other dream phenomena. Today we're going to be doing a dream talk episode, and unfortunately I'm doing this because I just discovered possibly the worst news of my life, and that is all 275 dreams that I've recorded over the past 3 years. They are gone. Yeah, completely. They do not exist anymore. I am devastated, to say the least. The app that I was using for them, which is probably a stupid idea in the first place to use an app to record your dreams, well, it wasn't backed up on my phone, and it's been glitching a lot lately, and I put my phone, this is really crazy, but I put my phone case on upside down and it pressed all the buttons in just the right way, and my phone factory reset itself. So everything on my phone was completely wiped, including every single dream that I have ever recorded. So yeah, that's fun, and I've cried a lot today, and I just need to take my mind off of it. So I'm gonna do an episode, and I'm gonna try to finalize and actually document some of these dreams that I find interesting and mystical before they possibly slip from my consciousness forever. And while most of the dreams that I've recorded in the past, I will probably never be able to fully regain the memory of them again. They'll probably never surface. But there are still a pretty large handful of dreams that have really left a lasting mark on me, to the point where these images, they'll most likely stay with me for the rest of my life. So with that being said, let's get into the episode and let's talk dream. Okay, obviously I was exaggerating about this being the worst news of my life, but that's kind of how it felt in the moment, because you can't recreate these things, and you also, it's really hard to remember them accurately. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but it was just definitely a devastating blow to be collecting these subconscious messages and kind of otherworldly experiences that I've had through my dreams, and they're all lost. So yeah, obviously I'm exaggerating about it being the worst news of my life, but it is devastating, and I will recover from it, but it sucks really bad right now, especially because I started this podcast, and a part of the reason I was recording my dreams, someone's here. Part of the reason I was recording my dreams was because I wanted to share them with you guys. So that's what I'm doing right now, but it's without my dream journal. So I'm gonna try my best, but yeah, just wanted to clarify, this isn't the worst news of my life. I'm just being dramatic because I'm sad. And after recording these stories, I realized that this can actually be a two-parter. So for the first one, it's going to be more of the mystical and otherworldly experiences that I've had in my dream world, including accessing the astral plane in dreams, seeing into the past, activating energy fields inside your dreams, and more. The second part to this episode will be more like lucid dreams and communicating directly with your subconscious. So definitely stick around for that episode. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff. So if you're interested specifically in the more mysterious and mystical dream stories, definitely listen to my other Dream Talk episodes. And I have a couple of other episodes, in my premonition and precognition episode, I share a few pretty crazy personal dream stories. as well as from like other people too. And also in the mutual dreaming episode, I have a few personal stories as well that are pretty mystical. So, yeah, definitely check out those episodes. And I have dream stories like kind of sprinkled in everywhere too. So, yeah. And most likely I will continue doing these episodes. They'll just be like more few and far between because I won't have as many dream stories to pull from. But sooner than later, I will be able to start branching out with listener stories episodes. So please continue to send me your dream stories. Please and thank you. Originally, I was planning on having like 5 to 6 different Dream Talk episodes where I section off my dreams into smaller categories. But it's just not gonna happen, guys, sadly. But there's just no way that I can remember all those dreams. There's no way. Like over 250 dreams. Yeah, no. I'm sure over time, maybe more will be triggered and come back to the surface. But for now, I just have probably around like a dozen or so that are on the surface that I remember the shape of. So I'm gonna try to get back into that space and relive those dreams. So hopefully more details will come back to me when I'm there. But yeah, quick tidbit. This is just gonna be a very candid episode of me gently not trying to have a mental breakdown while I slowly remember my dreams and try to piece things back together. So give me grace. I don't have any notes on this one. I'm just gonna go for it and see how it turns out. But we'll get there. It's still gonna be good. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Okay? We'll get through this together. Okay, let's start. Also, a warning, this audio might be a little bit off, so you might need to like turn up the volume or turn it down at certain times because, yeah, I'm recording on my phone. So, yeah, you're just gonna have to bear with me. Sorry, but it's gonna be a good episode, so it's whatever. Maybe like don't listen with headphones because you might notice it more. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but we're doing this thing, so let's go. I'm just gonna start out with like a stupid one that I wasn't even gonna add in here, but I think it's kind of funny and like, I guess kind of in with the pop culture now. I don't know. I don't really know what's happening, but this dream is kind of stupid, but I thought it was really interesting when it happened. So I had this dream. It was like a really random dream, felt like kind of a subconscious dump of like just past memories. And in this dream, I was in Oregon at a party with like a bunch of different random people, like old friends and stuff. And all of a sudden, I turned around and Johnny Depp was just standing there, kind of like hunched over, drinking beer. And I walked over and I was like, "Oh, hey, Johnny, like, do you know where you are? Like, I'm glad you're here, but why are you at like a random Oregon party right now?" And he just looked up at me and was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just here to hang out, like have some solitude." And he seemed really depressed or like numb in the dream, but I wanted to hang out with him, obviously. So we went into this quiet room and talked for a while, and it was really chill. We ended up like smoking a joint together and just sitting in silence for a while. And it was a really good dream. But anyways, I've never dreamt of Johnny Depp before. It was really weird. And when I woke up, I was like, that was really weird. And I literally like told my dad about it in the kitchen because I thought it was strange. Anyways, we turn on the TV and the first thing that is on the news is like the trial between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And of course, like, as most people know, this went on for like a really long time, and it was huge news forever. But like, I had this dream literally the night or the morning that the story broke, and like that it became really popular. And I just thought that was so interesting because, like, for the next month and a half or whatever, Johnny Depp was like one of the main people on like my social media feed and like in the news. And literally the night before it happened, I had just like spent the whole night hanging out with him in my dreams. So I thought that was very interesting, but just a stupid story. I didn't really think anything crazy of it. It was just like an interesting coincidence and like maybe some sort of a like slight fuzzy premonition. I don't know. Which, let's all be real for a second. Why the fuck was that being covered by national news for so long? Like, I don't understand why the whole country was so hyperfixated on that trial. Not to say that it wasn't like important or anything, but it's just very interesting what the news chooses to cover and fixate on. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna move on now. For anyone who doesn't live in America, Johnny Depp is like a really, really popular actor, but I have never seen him in my dreams before, and I never really dream of celebrities at all, unless I'm lucid and I'm conjuring Harry Styles. But yeah, it was really weird, and the trial was, I honestly didn't follow it at all, but I think it was about something like Amber, his wife, was accusing Johnny of something. I don't know if it was like assault or like sexual assault or something, but maybe like abuse, long-term abuse or something. But anyways, I think over time America discovered and like found out that Amber was actually the one that was like abusing Johnny Depp. And yeah, it was like the scene was like the script was kind of flipped. But anyways, yeah, I didn't follow this trial at all, even though I had like some sort of premonition dream about it. I think, at least, I don't know. Which, unrelated, this isn't a dream story, but that story reminded me of the time when I was in high school when this happened, and it was just like a normal morning. I was getting ready for school and making breakfast, and I had Space Oddity stuck in my head like the whole morning. And like me and my dad were both humming it like the whole morning, and we couldn't figure out like why we had this tune stuck in our head. Space Oddity by David Bowie. Just throwing that if anyone didn't know. But anyways, same thing. We turned on the news, and first thing that pops up is David Bowie's dead. And we both just like stand and like stare at each other with like our mouths open, like jaw drop. We could not believe it because obviously David Bowie is like an iconic pop culture figure, and yeah, I was raised on him, so it was it was just an interesting morning. Like, we could not believe that that happened because that wasn't a normal thing for us to be like humming in the morning to like the same tune. Like, that was not normal. And yeah, it was just some sort of premonition or something, like we were tapped into something. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it reminded me of it. It's kind of connected to that story that I just told, in a way, at least. I don't know, it's not like a dream story, but I thought I'd throw it in there. Okay, now we're gonna get away from like the kind of lighter stuff, and I'm just gonna dive right into um like probably my most mystical dream I think that I've had. And then from there, like, I'll just go into the normal like woo woo stuff. But anyways, just a warning, a fair warning there. We're gonna really get into the nitty gritty now. And since this story is the most mystical and kind of profound dream experience that I've had, it's gonna be hard for me to kind of convey what happened and uh, just like convey exactly how crazy it was because I can't really share the details. It's all very personal. But yeah, if hopefully you guys will kind of be able to understand what's going on here, but if not, just hang in there because the stories after this are fairly easy to convey and explain what was happening. And there's also like a lot of lore surrounding these stories, I guess, that I'm gonna tell like more towards the end. So if this one doesn't make sense, just hang in there because it's going to be good like throughout the episode. I just wanted to start with this one because I don't know how accurately I'm going to be able to convey what happened and just why it was so amazing. Um but yeah, just stick around. I'm going to try my best, and if this one doesn't make sense, we have the rest of the episode. So it's all good. This is probably the craziest dream that I've ever had in my whole life, and maybe probably ever will. Um, I personally have my own thoughts and beliefs about it. I'm not saying that they're true by any means, but I just feel like very strongly in like a certain way about it. So, yeah, anyways, I'll get into the dream, which I think was maybe my only like true astral projection dream where I really transported, like somehow like I crossed a boundary and was able to see into the past, into a scenario in which I probably maybe wasn't even born for yet. And it was very real and very vivid. And I am 100% positive that it happened and that like what I saw was truth. And anyways, in this dream, I'm not gonna tell any details of it, but in this dream, I was in my childhood house, which is where like a lot of my dreams happen, especially involving stuff from my childhood, which this heavily involves my childhood. I was in the house and I was like walking around in the house just like normal. It was a normal dream. And then all of a sudden, I became lucid and I decided to walk into the kitchen, and the lighting completely shifted, and the room was like super dark and it felt like really vast. And in the center of the kitchen was this spotlight and a chair, and there was like a scene happening underneath the spotlight. And I walked in and I just froze and immediately turned around and like ran out. And then I like turned back and I was just like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. And I said I'm not going to share any details, but if you can just like imagine under the spotlight two people and like it's a scene that you do not want to witness. I was still lucid this whole time. I ran into the other room, and like as I left, everything like the lighting got normal again, and like I was back in my childhood house. But I was in this room like very 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 upset, and I kept like I kept repeating, like, I know that this is a dream right now, but what I have been shown is true and real. And like, I know that it has happened. And like, I kept saying, like, I know I'm in a dream. Like, I know that like this world isn't necessarily real, but like, I have been given a window into this. And like, I know this to be true. And like, I was so adamant and like so passionate in the dream. And then I woke up, and yeah, the timing of the dream, like I didn't realize it at the time until like a few weeks afterwards, but the timing of the dream was right on the dot, and it was impeccable. Like that alone, like at first I was like, oh, like it could have been just like a crazy vivid dream that like, like my subconscious played on me or whatever. But the timing of the dream, I was like, there is no way. Like this was shown to me, and like it was literally like divine timing. It was crazy. But yeah, I look back on it now and I think like, oh shit, like I feel like at first I thought it was like some sort of like time travel of the soul. Or like just being like given a window into the past. Like that's what I saw it as, is like being shown, not time travel of the soul, like being given a window into the past, and like almost like a premonition, but of something that happened a long time ago. Just like some like a psychic vision basically. But looking back, I definitely feel like it was some kind of astral travel. I felt like I really went somewhere else in that moment. Like I was given this gift of sight for some reason, probably because I needed it. But the way that it played out, like how the room went dark and there was nothing surrounding them, it was just them in the room with a single light, like showing me what was happening. And as I looked into this vast room, I almost got like a bird's eye view too. It's hard to explain, but it was like double vision. Like I saw it from two angles at the same time. And even though I was lucid for this whole dream, or not the whole dream, but like most of it, or at least like this part, I never changed or controlled anything. I was just going along for the ride while having the awareness that I was in a dream. But a part of me really does feel like the connection that I had with this person sort of drew that vision to me. And I don't say connection in a good way here. But yeah, it's just interesting for me to think about, and I wish I could give more details, but I can't. I can't explain it, but it was different. I don't know what it was. I'm not gonna like claim it was anything, but I definitely have strong feelings about it. And it was very interesting, and I can't convey the emotions and I can't share the details, but it was profound. And when I said like I knew it, I I knew what that scene meant, but there is no way, I'm gonna cry right now. There is no way that I could have conjured up that image in my mind. There's just no way. That did not come from me. Um, but I know that happened. But when I said in the dream, I knew it. I fucking knew it. That was me saying like I knew that what this meant, what this scene means is true. Like not that like I knew this specific scenario happened, but so like when I don't know, when I thought back on that, and I'm like, that could maybe be conveyed, that like my subconscious mind like made that up to like validate my feelings or whatever. But like no, like this was not that. This was something else, like something else entirely. And I can't convey the feeling. Like I'm getting full body chills right now. Like I literally cannot convey to you what this felt to me in the moment. But as like while the whole time, while I was dreaming, while I was lucid, when I woke up, afterwards, when I found out the timing of that dream, in regards to the same scenario basically that had been going on for a lifetime, it's impossible to convey. But definitely the wildest dream that I've had. And I didn't think of it at the time, but I recently was watching Stranger Things, and there was a scene in it that I saw, and I was like, oh shit, this looks a lot like that dream that I had. And it's where Eleven puts the blindfold on and like uses the white noise, and she goes into that like meditation type thing, and it brings her into this astral type space where she's wandering in the darkness until she comes across like a person who's like illuminated by this light, and she can't see any of their surroundings or anything. It's just the person or the people that are there. And yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, this looks a lot like what I saw in my dream. Not exactly, but it was really strikingly similar. So, pretty much moving on to a completely different subject. Um, this is still like kind of interesting lore, and it's pretty mysterious, but it's definitely not like an astral projection dream or anything. But yeah, so in this dream, I was walking in like this super crowded city, and it looked like New York City or something, like a really big kind of grungy city. And I hate cities, by the way. And I'm walking along like pretty stressed out and like not feeling great. And in this crowd of people, like people are brushing up against me and like bumping into me and moving past me and stuff. And one of these people, they have like this black hoodie on, and it's like the hood is like up. I can't really see their eyes, but like I can see their face, kind of. But anyways, their head is down, and they brush into me, and like as they move past me, I just hear them say, like, it's like kind of in like a hushed whisper, they just say like, this is a dream, as they go by me. And I like turned around and I like looked up, and I'm like, why the fuck am I in New York City right now? And instantly I became lucid and just like flew upwards. And as I looked down, it was a green meadow, and like I conjured a stream, and I was just like flying and like above the scenery and like creating stuff as I like flew onward and stuff. And yeah, it was a really good dream, but it started out really terribly. And this mysterious figure kind of tipped me off, and I don't know who he was, but yeah, it was definitely notable. And it reminds me of my dream guide episode where it's like um, this dream story that I have that I experienced, and it kind of alludes to this lore of the possibility that there are these entities in the dream world that can kind of help you along your lucid journey, and sort of like help you become lucid and like help you like have that spark, or like teach you how to grow in that area like throughout the years or whatever. And I have this one dream guide, which he has like dark brown hair, and I didn't see this guy's hair, but I don't know, I just feel like he was a different person maybe, but I didn't see his face, so I'm not sure. But yeah, it's definitely interesting stuff. A theme that I seem to have fairly often in my dreams, or at least when I do experience them, they're very profound and surreal and tend to leave a mark on me long after waking. These are the dreams where I see and feel an intense energy field flowing through and around my body, which tends to be a pretty intense sensory experience. And I've had a bunch of different types of these dreams, but this one is probably the most interesting to me. And I was walking in the forest, and I can't remember exactly what happened or what triggered this because I don't have my dreams to reference, but something happened, and my whole body kind of came alive in that moment. And for no apparent reason, I started to feel each and every one of my cells vibrating. And then something started to appear around me that I had never seen before. And I instantly became aware that the space that I was occupying was not the waking reality that I had originally thought it was. But I also simultaneously had this feeling that what I was experiencing was still very real. And I started to feel this, I don't know, it's like an energy field circulating around me. And it was almost like two separate triangular shaped fields spinning around me, going in opposite directions from each other. And as they rotated, I could hear that whoosh as the wind like hit through these like energetic pyramids that were passing by each other. And simultaneously, while seeing this, there was also another separate energy field that was going through and around my body. And this was a field that I had actually seen before and I was aware of, and it's called the human biofield, which basically looks like it looks like a huge donut, I guess, if you were wearing it as like an inner tube, and the energy flows up from your head around your body, and it connects back through the base of your spine and then continually circulates around the body. And although I had seen this energy known as the human biofield depicted in diagrams before, I had never seen this other energy field that I felt so indescribable to witness around me. Like, just to give you guys a little visual, I can't really describe it in a sentence, but some descriptive words that come to mind are like white, neon, bubbly, sparkly light. And these two energy fields looked like very different from each other visually. But yeah, those words apply to both of the fields, I guess, but they both looked very different, just within like the energy that was flowing through them. So anyways, this field is spinning around me and the feeling was so intense and all encompassing. And I felt as each cell in my body was alive and vibrating. And although the experience was almost overwhelming, I felt completely open and unafraid because there was just this instant feeling of like a deep knowing and connection to something ancient and divine that was held within me. And I felt relaxed and I felt powerful. And upon waking, I could still almost feel that energy pulsating through me. And since I was aware that there's countless different energy channels and pathways that go throughout the body, I instantly started Googling the shape that I saw. And I had previously seen this shape embedded in like various sacred geometry symbols. And if you're unaware, the basic shape that I saw is almost like a three-dimensional Star of David, which is probably like the most recognizable Jewish symbol there is. And it's seen in a bunch of sacred geometry as well. But I've never seen it in the context of a human energy field before. And pretty quickly, I was able to find a ton of different diagrams depicting the same exact field I saw in my dreams. And it had the same exact proportions. It moved in the same way I saw, with the two pyramids rotating opposite directions. And upon doing more research on this field, what I found amazed me that I experienced this sort of activation so vividly, specifically inside my dream world. What I found is that this Merkaba energy matrix is what it's called. The shape is called a Merkaba. And this is an energy matrix that surrounds the aura and strengthens the alignment between the mind, body, and soul. And it offers protection to the user and aligns you more dually with your higher self. And it's a Hebrew word meaning chariot or thing to ride in. Mer means light, Ka means spirit, and Ba means body. And it's known as the light body or the container for our soul, or the container for our auric field. And in newer age spirituality, it's said that the activation of the Merkaba field provides a bridge, if you will, between this world and the next. This is a big concept within Jewish mysticism and just general esoteric teachings, but I had never seen this field until I experienced it firsthand inside my dream world. And let me just throw this in here really quick, just because it needs to be said. Seeing a diagram of an energy field and feeling it, like in a lucid dream, they are two very different things. Like, it's another one of those things that is just like unexplainable. You really feel like this overwhelmingly powerful sense of surrender. And honestly, the only other thing that I can think to compare it to is some of the experiences that you can get from psychedelics or other entheogens. And I think it's similar because these types of substances can actually truly open you up to being more sensitive and feeling that energy running through us. So instead of thinking of it as being like some kind of hallucination, it's actually something very real that you're tapping into and experiencing. Another dream that's kind of intriguing, that's pretty similar to the one I just told, it happened about 2 to 3 years ago, so like a year or two before I had this dream that I just told you guys about. And in this dream, I was walking in the forest again. I have a bunch of dreams in the forest where I'm just like hanging out, if you guys haven't noticed yet. But anyways, I was just walking along and it was this beautiful, like super old growth forest. And at some point, I came across this gigantic crystal ball. Like, we're talking like 4 to 5 times the size of a bowling ball. It's huge. And it was propped up on this like really tall pedestal. So it reached up to like around my midsection when I stood next to it. And as I got closer to it, I could feel my whole body start to tingle. And let me just say too, side note, this was like the most insanely beautiful crystal that I've ever seen in my life. And it was some kind of like optical calcite, like clear and rainbowy with a bunch of like otherworldly inclusions. And I think it was almost like terminated with some kind of like thin gold threads. So if you look up like rutilated quartz or optical calcite, it was kind of like a combination between those two. Which, off topic, I love coming across crystals in my dreams that don't actually exist in real life, or even just like collecting crystals that I find along my path inside of dreams, even though you can't take them with you when you wake up. But I wonder, part of me wonders if I'm interacting with like true energetic talismans. Like, yes, they don't exist on this earthly plane, but in the spirit is still there, and like we're coming into contact and interacting or tapping into these energetic fields, and that can change you in a way on some level. And theoretically, you could receive downloads of information from that. If it works in like on this plane of existence, it should work on another plane of existence. And if you're into like quantum mechanics and quantum physics, I feel like this isn't too far off. But anyways, I'll stop rambling and I'll get back to the dream. But if you guys are interested about that, definitely let me know because I'd love to talk about it more. But as I saw this crystal in the forest appear, I was super excited to witness it, but I also felt this like quiet reverence for it. Like I knew how powerful it was, and I felt very lucky to find it and come across it. And I felt this immense pull, and as I walked up to it, my whole body began to tingle, and I felt almost overtaken by its energy. And it was this super intense feeling, and as I got closer, I could start to see my biofield circulating and flowing through me, kind of like in the other dream. And this was the first time I ever experienced anything like that in a dream. And I slowly reached out my hand, reaching for the crystal, and once my skin made contact with the sphere, I instantly blacked out, and I felt my spirit like almost project out of my body. And I got this brief fuzzy and dark visual of almost like a blast off that you get when you start a DMT trip. I've never done DMT, but I've just like um seen this like kind of visual thing depicted. And I have no idea where I went. Even while I was in the dream, after I woke up, I remember thinking, like, what just happened? Where did I just go? But my memory was just black. But my soul left my dream body in that moment. And I woke up back on the forest floor inside the dream, and it was in the same spot in the forest, only the crystal sphere was no longer there. And in the dream, I was like, whoa, what the fuck just happened to me? And I just laid there for a while, and then I woke up eventually. But yeah, I have no idea where I went, but I'm pretty sure something crazy happened. Like, I was blacked out for what felt like only 2 minutes, and then eventually my soul came back to my body, but I don't remember what happened while I was gone. But something happened when I touched the sphere in the forest. And yeah, it was a really unique experience. And I've had a few cases like this, kind of where it, not exactly like this, but it's the same concept of where you're in the dream and then you go somewhere else in the dream, like a different layer or a deeper layer or something. I don't know. But in a separate story, in like my next Dream Talk episode that I'm going to be doing, I'll be telling a story that deals with the dreamception concept. So it's like the idea of going to sleep inside of a dream and then having a dream while you're sleeping in your dream. So this is a really interesting concept. I don't think it's necessarily like the same, but it's the same idea of you're in the dream and then you go somewhere else, like somewhere that doesn't feel like your dream anymore. So what is this? I also have a lot of Egyptian symbolism in my dreams, whether it be like Ankhs or like Eye of Horus or pyramids, coming across like ancient Egyptian relics or like a temple. Also, as I talked about in my dream guide episode, like Mayan or Aztec, like South American ruins in the jungle. I have a lot of dreams about like suddenly stumbling upon these beautiful, magical, ancient temples, like very holy places, and like you can feel it in the dream. They are like the most profound and my favorite dreams that I have, and I have them quite often, and they're all like connected. They seem like they're connected. Um, yeah, like, and I remember too, like it felt like an initiation, like when I first started having dreams about Egypt, it was just like super heavy symbolism, and then like eventually I finally went there in my dreams, and I remember I was so fucking excited, like in my dream, just like being over the moon and like I can't believe I'm finally going to Egypt, like this is the best fucking thing that has ever happened. And still, when I woke up, even though I knew it was a dream, it was still the best fucking thing that had ever happened, because like it was so vivid. So even after I had woken up, it felt like I truly had experienced that, and I was complete, basically. That was like the first real Egypt dream that I had, of like actually going there and exploring the temples and the pyramids, and it was, oh my God, it was amazing. I am so fucking upset that I don't have my dreams, because it is full of like, when I had that dream, I probably wrote like 4 pages, 5 pages on everything that I saw and different symbolism and things that were said to me in that dream, and like different experiences that I had, and it was amazing. But I can't remember it because I have only read that dream like once, maybe twice since I had it, and I had it like 2-3 years ago. So I mean, I could probably like write it down again, but I'm not going to share it on the podcast because it's not going to be fully accurate. So anyways, many temple dreams, like a lot of temple dreams and exploring dreams and just like finding cool shit, and it feels really fucking spiritual. And these dreams are also always like very vivid, always, like, and even if I can't remember them, the parts that I do are like extremely vivid and like completely sensory, like awakening, and like more real than reality, I guess. I'll just put it that way. And of course I said I wasn't going to go into the dream story, but more is coming back to me, so I'm just going to give you guys like a summary of like the more interesting parts of the dream. In that first dream that I had where I actually like visited Egypt for the first time in my dreams, as opposed to just like seeing like really heavy Egyptian symbolism in my dreams, but like when I actually went there for the first time and I was like going through these temples and like beautiful buildings, like old ancient sites. It was like a maze almost that I was going through for a second. But anyways, that dream had a lot of knowledge that was told to me. Like there was this one scene in the dream where I walked up to this wall of hieroglyphics, and this like something from the wall like kind of like hovered down and landed at my feet, and it was a key. And the goddess Isis, she like flew down to me and basically like put that key in my forehead. And when she turned the key, there was like this big light beam that kind of shined out of my forehead. And I'm not going to pretend like I remember exactly what was told to me, because I can't, but I do remember the shape of it. And basically, she said that I have lived in Egypt before, and like I was basically like coming to an old home in that dream. And she said that I came to this like lifetime for a reason, like at this particular time, like there's a very good reason that I'm here right now. But she didn't tell me like anything more on that. Like she didn't tell me why I was here or anything. She just said that it was important and that I was here for a reason and that I was doing good, like I was on the right path. But I can't really remember like much more after that. There was something about like being, I don't know. I'm not gonna like spout out stuff that I don't really remember, but it was a profound dream, and it's really hard to convey like just how crazy of a feeling that is, like when you're there and like you truly feel like you have communicated with an ancient deity. Like it's a wild feeling, and like especially while you're inside the dream, like it's otherworldly almost. Yeah, definitely my favorite dreams that I ever have. And I wish I could rewrite or reread it, but yeah, all of that is lost. Hopefully I'll be visited again if that's what that was. Well, I think that is going to be it for this part of the episode. Thank you so much for listening and hanging in there with me as I grieve my dream journal, because yeah, that was a real sad time realizing that. But yeah, it was good to do this episode because now some of those dreams are kind of set in stone. I will never forget them. And yeah, thanks again for coming along for the ride. So I think those are the only dreams that I can remember that are like mystical and kind of like otherworldly spiritual feeling. But as I continue to have dreams, I will keep sharing them in Dream Talk episodes. It will probably just take some time to build up that pool that I can pull the dreams from. But stick around for the next episode because it's definitely going to be good, especially if you're interested in lucid dreaming. I think most of the dreams in the next episode are going to be lucid dreams, and specifically becoming lucid in a dream and directly being able to communicate with your subconscious mind. So definitely stick around for that episode. I am very excited for it. And I also just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been reaching out and sharing their own dream stories and just ideas and theories about the dream world. I really appreciate you reaching out, and I love that shit. I love to hear it. I eat it up. It's the best. So keep it coming, please. Just thank you so much for the community. I love it. And also other news that has happened, I made a separate Instagram account for my podcast. It is called Lucid Sight Podcast. The name is Lucid Sight Collective, obviously, but the actual username of the account is Lucid Sight Podcast. No punctuation or anything. So yeah, definitely check that out and give it a follow. It is way more in-depth than my other Instagram account. That one, the lucid.sight.co, is just like my basic art account. I do stained glass art, and it's just like a general account for everything. I post podcast stuff, and it's just like a business account. But the Lucid Sight Podcast is strictly podcast stuff, and it goes a lot more in depth into some of the episodes, and I'll be posting just like general podcast related stuff on there. So definitely give that a follow, and continue to message me about your dreams. I love it. It's the best. And thank you everyone for your support. Keep sharing the podcast to people you think that would find it interesting. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a good day and sweet dreams, and I will talk to you next time.